Hello and welcome back. Today I wanted to do a quick review of a new product that I've gotten from Ripper Blades rather. It's not exactly a new product, it's something they've been offering for a while, but it's new to me, so I figured I'd give you guys a look at it. This is the Twisted Blade. Now specifically this one here is the Twisted V2. I'll talk about the difference between the Twisted V1 and the Twisted V2 momentarily. Let me give the camera a close-up of this real quick. Now, if that looked familiar to you, and you've seen some of my other videos from Ripper Blades, there's a reason why. This twisted design is very similar to what they use on their acrylic side spikes. Okay, the acrylic side spikes are just like this. It's a square, or basically a square column that has been twisted into a spiral. The black acrylic side spikes Ripper etches lightning on, the other colors he does not. The Twisted Blade has that lightning etched on. The difference is that the unstable side spikes are somewhat melted as well to give it that ragged and unstable look, whereas the Twisted Blade is left clean for this more icicle-like look. Now this is a solid piece of acrylic, so it's comparatively heavy. And the V2 looks like this. It comes to a point. An interesting thing about this point, you notice when I've got the light on, you see this flare at the end? That's because a lot of the light diffuses out of this lightning along the way down, or diffuses at the different angles as it's twisted, but a good portion of it still makes it to the end, so you end up with quite a beam down here coming off the end of your saber, which actually gives it a flare. It's more evident on camera than it is in person, but you can definitely see it in person. Alright, so a lot like the side spikes. The difference between the V1 and the V2, I mentioned that the V2 is pointed. The V1, because this is such a slim design, you can actually fit this inside of another blade. And that's what the V2, or the V1 was. You ended up with a, well, right here, this isn't exactly what you ended up with. This is a Ripper blade inside of a Ripper blade, so I guess this is a Pimp My Rides moment. Yo dog, I heard you like Ripper blades, so we put a Ripper blade in your Ripper blade. But anyhow, the acrylic twisted blade will fit inside of a standard blade. So for the V1s, they were flat on the end as opposed to pointed, and they came up to the inside, the bottom part of the tip of a standard blade. But at any rate, this is the V2, and I kind of like this one. The trade-off is that the V2 is more fragile than the V1. It is also slimmer, it's neater looking, but it is more fragile. So, Twisted Blade, very neat effect. The downside of it is, like any other acrylic blade, it is fragile. Unlike some of Rip's other blades that are flat, this one doesn't have the wind resistance thing. With like a Ninja blade, if you go with the blade, it'll cut through the air. If you go with the flat, it'll resist you and it'll be in danger of snapping. This one's a little bit heavier, but you don't have a flat side. So it does handle fairly well as long as you don't hit anything with it or drop it. If you're just handling it in the air, it's just fine for performance pieces. But very neat blade. It's quickly becoming one of my favorites with this saber. It's anchored to a blade plug, much like these side spikes are. So it fits in just about, or it fits a bit in any lightsaber that takes a 1-inch blade. If you have a socket on your blade or on your lightsaber that's deeper than about 2 inches, you're going to have to ask him for it, but he can make those he can custom make those if need be. Otherwise, it's about a 2-inch socket on this. So it won't work in things like the Omen saber, because that has a very deep socket. A few of the Saber Forge sabers have pretty deep sockets, so you would have to ask about that. But otherwise, pretty universal, very nice, and if you've got the right saber for it, for a shelf queen or for a performance piece, the Twisted is a very interesting way to go. So once again, Ripper is offering something that I have never seen anywhere else. If this video has been of use to you, please join me back for more videos. I've got a few more Ripper blades I'm going to be looking at in the near future, and I'll see you then.